Should the Warriors trade for Brandon Ingram? He's in the last year of his deal. Pelicans and him kind of far apart. He either walks in the summer if they don't make a new deal, or they trade him at the trade deadline. He goes to a team he wants to be at. They want him to be at. And they get assets back. We know the Warriors need to make a trade. Without Melton, we've been losing games. We need some type of big man in the center to help us out. Yes, Ingram's not a traditional center, but he can play that type of role and stretch the floor for us that Draymond Green can't at the 4. I know that Steve Kerr doesn't like pushing Draymond to the 5 as much, but maybe that's something you got to do. So the question is, do we make that trade? And the reason I'm bringing that up is, if you look at Bovada Official, the Warriors have the 5th highest odds to trade for Brandon Ingram. Lakers going back home to LA where he was drafted. Heat, Clippers, Hawks, Warriors plus 800. So if we're going to make the trade, how did we do it? Who did we get? I did this in the offseason, but now that we're in the season, let's do it again for Ingram. We did something like this for a couple other players. Again, Randy Silver, Warriors Digest. We break down all the biggest Warriors news, game stats, reports, free agency, and trade rumors for you. So let's break this down. The first thing we need to look at is, why is this happening for Ingram? Excuse me. Per Brian Windhorst, the two sides are at a stalemate. They can't agree on the contract extension this upcoming summer. The Pelicans would need to send his $36 million salary and get value back while reducing, which makes it tough. That's a lot of money. So the first thing we got to look at, again, is the contract. $36 million, final year, and he's probably going to want something in the $30 to $40 million range if they want to re-sign him. He's 27 years old. Feels like he's been in the league so much longer than that. So you could still sign him, and he's in his prime. So you could sign him $30 to $40 million. And you're going to get some good years out of him. If we look at how he's doing this season. Stats. He's missed some games. He's played 17, but every game he's played, he started. 23 points, getting closer to his career high of 24. If you look at points, you look at rebounding right here, 5.8, which is close to his career high. Free throw percentage, 84%, close to his career high. 3-point percent, 37%, so doing a nice job there. Field goal percentage, 46%, right at his mean. And then minutes per game, right there near his career high again. So when he's playing, he's doing well. He's being effective. At 6'8", he fits the type of Warriors wing profile. But so we have to go back to the $36 million. Before we even look at what can we do, if the Warriors were to make a trade, how would that work? So we got to make the $36 million work. Again, Warriors are hard, when we pull this up correctly, Warriors are hard capped at the first tax apron. So we cannot bring more money back. This means that we have to bring it in, or it's 533. So we have to make the $36 million work. Even if it's going to be declining, because prorated, it has to work at $36 million. So that means if you're going to do it, Andrew Wiggins probably has to go. He has 3 years left. So the question is, do you see Wiggins being a better player moving forward? He's having a great season. I would say maybe a little bit below borderline all-star, but his defense is back up. His shooting is really good. Now, do you want Wiggins for another 2 years, or do you sign Ingram to a 4 or 5 year deal, and he's also 2 to 3 years younger? And they kind of play the same position, a little bit different. Wiggins is a better on-ball perimeter defender. Ingram can switch, play multiple positions, but more dynamic on offense. So if you did Wiggins, then you get your $26 million right there. So then you would need to do another 10, which maybe is GP2. Maybe it's Looney. Maybe it's Kuminga. So if you did Andrew Wiggins, $26 million, Kuminga and him play the same position, so 26 plus, say, $7 million, especially you're not going to be able to sign Ingram to an extension and sign Kuminga to what he wants, $35 million. So that means Kuminga probably has to go. 26 plus 7 is 33, meaning there's one more player that has to go. Podziemski. Podziemski's not having his best season. He's still on a relatively young contract, $3 million for the next couple of years. So if you do Podziemski for 3, Wiggins for 26, Kuminga for 7, that puts you at $36 million. That puts you right there. Now, if you look again, the Warriors only have 15 people on their active roster. You lose 3 plus 1. That puts you at 15 minus 3 is 12, plus 1 is 13. You have to have 14. So a 3-team trade would have to happen where the Warriors bring a player back from a different team. That's kind of a salary dump in terms of what is happening with that team. We get a player to fill the back of the bench. Maybe they play, maybe the two-way players play. But you couldn't do the trade for just 3 players for 1 because we would be below the 14 players on the roster. The good thing is the money would work. So if you were to do that, then let me pull up the Warriors really quickly because you're going to have to redo your lineup. Let's go to the Warriors depth chart. And again, I'm not saying what is right or wrong. That's for you guys to make the decisions. I'm here to just give you information about what could be done and how it can be done. So if we look at the Warriors depth chart, again, there's some injuries there. So you're going to lose Podziemski, Wiggins, and Kuminga. So your starting point guard is Curry. I would assume Waters or Moody moves to the shooting guard. Wiggins is out, so this is where you probably put Ingram. Then you could keep Draymond at power forward. You could put Looney or Trayce Jackson-Davis here. Or you do Curry, and then you got Moody, Hield, Waters, one of those 3 shooting guard. I still think Hield comes off the bench. Then you would at your small forward. Maybe you put Moody if you think he's worth starting. Not probably Kyle Anderson. And then you have potentially Green moving to center in some games and Ingram at power forward. But now you have Green at 6'6", 6'7"-ish, 6'6". Ingram at 6'8", lengthy 6'8", and Looney around 6'10", Trayce Jackson-Davis like 6'9", 6'8", 6'10", like that. So not that tall 7-foot center that you want, but you have a lot of athleticism, versatility on the floor. If we go to the Warrior stats, we again said Ingram is shooting pretty well. If we look at Warriors shooting splits, let me scroll down. 3-point percentage. Let me just pull this back up 1 second. Career stats, Ingram. So we said this season Ingram is shooting. Let me zoom this in for you. 37% from 3. If we look at the Warriors right now, 37% from 3 is where Moody is at. And then below Green, who's still above 40%, Curry, Hield, and Wiggins. Wiggins leading the team 3-point percentage. Who would have thought that? You look at the field goal percentage, 46%. Field goal percentage, 46%, is right up there with Kuminga, Curry, Wiggins, Looney, Payton, TJD, really near the basket when they're scoring. You look at points per game, 23.2. Instantly becomes the highest scorer in this team. Obviously, maybe that takes a dip with Steph Curry. Ingram doesn't have to do as much, but the offensive versatility that he brings to the team would be significant. If you look at the rebounding Ingram brings as well, 5.8 per game this season, that puts him, again, top 3 on the team. So if you look at what if you look at what Ingram can provide this team, stretch, athleticism, leadership, and he does not have a championship, which also, some players here don't. Just brings some hunger to the team. Now, again, that means you probably have to get rid of Kuminga because he's not going to get the $35 million, plus you pay Ingram that. So it's Kuminga, Wiggins, because you have to match 36. You're going to have to get that away. They play basically the same position. And then Podziemski, because they probably want 2 young players back, and maybe even some draft picks I didn't talk about. So let me know your thoughts, folks. Do you think that's a good trade, a bad trade, anything in between? Of course, subscribe to Warriors Digest. We have all the breakdowns for you daily. Out.